So welcome to the May Intermediate Sampler here at Close to Home in Southington. As a reminder, your completed April block needs to be brought in beginning this Friday, May 10th through Friday, May 31st to get this month's May block free. Okay. We are continuing our Cafe Facet, Seth Apter, and Tula Pink Free Spirit lines for only $8.50 per yard. There is a 1 yard minimum. Along with this sale is all threads buy 2 get 1 free and fat quarters buy 2 get 1 free. This sale ends Saturday, May 11th. We have some upcoming classes: the Mondo Bag, Free Motion Quilting, Kids Summer Camp, Intro to Bargello, as well as Embroidery Club and Creative Sewing Club. And also, please watch your emails for upcoming Notions sale. And if you don't already have the Close to Home app, please get it. You will be notified of all the sales on there as well. All right, so let's go check out May's intermediate block. So the block is going to be using the Creative Grids 4-inch and 8-inch, same ruler, square on square. We've done the 4-inch in the past, but this time we're going out to the full 8-inch. I think this was last year or possibly the year before. It's going to be followed with some strip sets and half square triangles, which I probably will discuss but won't go too deep into. The cutting chart is a little crazy. There's a lot of cutting, a lot of pieces. So for the white, you're going to take the long rectangle and cut it 1 1/4 by 8 1/2. You'll need 4 of those. That's obviously for the border. From the remainder, you're going to take 2 3-inch squares and 2 7/8 inch squares. As you can see, the A1 is used with the ruler, the A2, the B1, and the B2. All those squares that have these numbers under them are going to be cut on the diagonal once. These 2 7/8 squares from the white are going to have a drawn diagonal line on the wrong side of the white, and those will be for the half square triangles. The deep red, the long rectangle, you're looking at 1 1/4 by 8 1/2, also for the border, same as the white. 3 1/2, you need 2 of them, and that's for round A2 on our ruler. Again, cut on the diagonal once. The coral, these are your half square triangles, so 2 at 2 7/8, and then the border 1 inch by 8 1/2, 1 inch by 8 1/2 cut. The yellow, 2 4 1/2 inch squares. Again, they're being used on the square on square ruler in the B1 block, so we're going to cut those on the diagonal 1 time. And the last is the black squirrel. We need 2 5 1/2s cut on the diagonal once, and this will be our center square at a very precise 2 1/2. All right, so a 2 1/2 inch square, that's going dead center. All right, so let's get going on the easy stuff first. I've already gone ahead and cut most of this. Remember the white, I drew the line. These are for our half squares. We're going to put them, the 2 7/8 squares together. You're going to sew on either side of the line and cut. And these will be our 2 1/2 inch squares. So we're going to do 2 of those to yield 4 half square triangles. The outside borders, very quickly, you have 4 of each. The 1 1/4 red gets sewn to the 1 inch coral, which then gets sewn to the 1 1/4 white. All right, and you'll do that 4 times as well. So this should be 2 1/2 by 8 1/2. All right. All right, now on to the fun stuff. Oh, and those 1 1/4, I did use my Stripology ruler, and I don't know if you can see down here where it says the 1/4 cuts on this part of the ruler. If you line up your edge of your strip here, you can cut 1 1/4 very easily at the 1 1/4 mark. But here's your 0 on the dashed line. You want to try it? Try it. Of course, you can always use your regular 8.5 by 12.5 as well. All right, so I've gone over all the parts. I've cut everything, cut them on the diagonal, and we're just going to start assembling from our inside square out. So the first thing we want to do, and this is the same through block A1, A2, B1, B2, is we're going to take our center square. We're going to find the right sides, place them together on opposite sides. We're going to center this and stitch at 1/4 inch. All right, I just kind of eyeball it. We are going to trim it, but it's nice to be as close to center as possible. So go ahead and sew that at 1/4. We're going to also take the opposite side, so right sides together, and again, 1/4 inch, and we're going to press these open. All right, I'm going to sew one for you, and then I'm just going to kind of go through the block and show you where they get trimmed. So these are going to get sewn, and we're going to do the same to this one. All right, so let's go ahead and just do the first one, and then we'll be all set for the rest of them. So find the center. Always find the center of the block. I just kind of eyeball it. Very important, make sure this raw edge is right on top of each other. Don't let one of the fabrics slip on you. And a nice 1/4 inch. We are trimming, but in order to line up the square with our unit, some pretty accurate sewing is needed. Okay, so we're going to do this one. I didn't go all the way because I ran out of square. I don't need to just sew. We're going to take this one, again, line it up halfway. I mean, you could, fold it and find the centers, but I pretty much just kind of really get it as close to center as possible. And again, we're going to sew this 1/4, and I'm just going to go press it. All right. So my iron's hot. I'm going to just press these out toward the triangle. Get a lot of bias. Of course, use your Mary Ellen's Best Press on your kit. Okay, let's go add the last two, and we're going to do this for all these pieces as we go along. Adding opposites. So I look for the right side. The white is very hard to tell. So we have the right side, and we're going to center that, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch through here. Threads to the back. We'll do it again. Yeah, I heard my thread kind of messing up there. And we're going to take our last piece, add it to the last side. We're going to center that. Again, you could fold this in half and fold your square in half and get it in the center, but I just kind of eyeball it. Having these right on the edge of each other is so important. So remember that while you're sewing. All right, and we're going to press these out, and then we're going to start our trimming process. So I pushed them out, give it a good press. All right, so let's take a look at the ruler real quick, because I haven't really gone over the ruler. We have, if you center your ruler in front of you, you're always going to see block A1, it's a white square. Then block A2 is the black. Block B1 is a white square. And block B2 is the black square. Those are the only 4 markings that we're going to need this month. There are markings if you did want to do a pinwheel and trim it, or do a 4-patch and trim it for your center squares. All right, but for now, block A1, 2, B1, B2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the paper off so I can see through it. And we have this block A1, and I'm going to turn it because I want those words to be facing me because I'm right-handed, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and place my first round, my A1, and I'm going to get this square right all around this square. It's pretty close. So as long as that white square measures up around my center black squirrel, I'm good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the first 2 sides. The next thing we want to do is remove our unit and turn it 180 degrees and place our ruler back on top, again matching up this block A1 with our center. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. All right. All right, and that's what I did here, so I've already done that. All right, so the next step is to add the red, and I'm not going to sew, or I just want to cut and show you where things go. But again, it's the same thing. We're going to find the centers of our 2 opposite sides, sew, press, same thing, opposite sides, sew, and press. All right, and what you get is this. It's already been pressed out toward the triangles. So where do we trim our A2? So I'm going to look at my ruler one more time. I see block A2, and again it's facing me, and I'm going to line it up with the white, which was my A1. So here is block A2, and I want this black line. I don't know if you can see the black line. I'm going to want that black line as close to my square as I can line it up. And once it's there, again, I'm going to cut my 2 sides. Turn my unit 180 degrees. Line that white square back up so I can cut my A2. All right, once it's lined up back with the white again, I can go ahead and trim these. All right, then we're going to take our yellow. We're going to sew that. Press that, opposite sides first, and we're going to press that away. All right, so I have one here. Where do we trim this? So I've pressed my seams. I'm now looking for block B1. All right, B1 is the square that's going to find right here, the red square. So I don't know if you can see, B1 is this white line that's going to go around here. It says marked B1, and that white line, it's kind of hard to see, it's going to go right on the seams of my red. All right, so come on, we'll do that. And we'll go ahead and trim this one. So as long as it's lined up in the right spot, I can go ahead and trim. I'm going to turn 180 degrees. I'm going to line that square back up. and give it another trim. The last one is the black swirls that we cut. Again, we're going to put these on, we're going to line them up halfway, sew a quarter, same with this one. I'm going to line this one up, sew a quarter, press them, and press these. Two at a time, opposites. So that's what we have here that I've already pressed and sewn those 4 triangles. So the last one, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can bring this under here again. It's the B2 block. It's going right around the black line. All right. So maybe if I hold it here, I want the numbers, the letters towards me. And here's my black line that's going all the way around. See, I'm just going to put that right in the corners, as close as they can go. They might be out just a little bit. Get them as close as possible, and go ahead. We're going to turn. You can, if you want, if you have a rotating mat, you can turn this and do the other side, but I don't, so I'm just going to turn my unit 180, line it up again, put that right in along the edge. The seam allowance is already built into my ruler, so now I have my 8.5 inch block. Okay, so let's go over to the block. And again, this is going to be a 9 patch, so we're going to put our half square triangles on the ends of our top and bottom. Sew our borders to our 8.5 inch square on square, and then we can add our top and bottom. All right, so pretty easy block this month. I do want to show you that beautiful Kaffe facet fabric that is on special until Saturday, May 11th. If you want to take a look at how pretty all the Kaffe are and the beautiful after fabrics that we have, and our Tula pinks. $8.50 per yard, 1 yard minimum, no limit. Great for 3-yard quilts. Hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you this weekend. Thank you.